So when I had the conversation with my wife, the first thing she said to me was that she's worried about me getting into politics because politics in Nigeria is very dirty and very dangerous, and that she doesn't want anything that will soil me or harm me, bring any kind of harm to me, my reputation, my character, or even my physical person. And my response to her was, yes, you're right, politics in Nigeria is very dirty and very dangerous, but that's because the good people always avoid it. So it will remain dirty and dangerous forever unless people who have the right intentions, people who innately are good and want better for the country, start to try and get involved in it and start to be a part of the people that are working on changing the system. Otherwise, it remains dirty and dangerous forever. Unless, I asked, I said, all of the people that we know, the people who have achieved something, the people who've built companies and careers, who've empowered young people, who've created opportunity in Nigeria, none of those people ever want to get involved in politics. But yet all of us sit back and criticize. So we complain about it, but we never want to get involved. And so to me it was like, yes, I know it's dirty and dangerous, but I feel like I want to inspire other credible people in our generation to stand up and stick their neck out and play a role, a bigger role in attempting to solve the problems that we have. And I think, if nothing else, if all I do is inspire a new generation of credible candidates to come to the table, to stick their necks out, and not just from a presidential level, right? Because everybody wants the Obama story, the Obama effect. But the truth is, Obama started in the community. He started as a community worker, then he was in the State House, then he was a senator before he became a president. So if you want to play a role in fixing a country, you start by fixing a community, and then we stand a chance. I'm the third of 5 children, but my parents' reaction was the same. So it was optimistic, but it was a little fearful because of what they know the terrain to be like in Nigeria. But again, my answer to them was like what it was to my wife. It was like, if it's not me, so who exactly am I waiting for? If it's not somebody like myself who I know the intentions I have, I know the character that I have, I know the things that I believe in, that I've always believed in, I know the way that I've worked in a personal capacity over the years to try and do better and leave society around me better. So if it's not somebody like me that's going to try and do this thing, then who exactly am I or we waiting for? Let me wear my hat as you're talking about it. The answer to that is quite simple. First of all, we like to kind of complain about the way that the powers that be are set up in terms of your APC or your PDP, and how maybe we don't agree with certain characters in these parties or the way that they've done politics and all of that stuff. But the truth is, those parties built something, right? So APC or PDP is powerful today because 20, 30 years ago, a group of people got together in a room, came up with an idea to influence government, and started working on it and building a structure. Now, the other truth that people seem to forget is that the greatest voter constituency in this country are the people that don't show up. So in the last elections, there were 90 million or so registered Nigerians. 28 million took part. The person who won the seat, 28,000 votes to win that seat. So what that tells me is that, yes, APC and PDP have built something, but the people who are not necessarily on either side, who are just either frustrated or disenfranchised or too suspicious, or they just don't care anymore because they've been fooled by the system too many times, do we attempt to build something for ourselves? Do we as a generation, young people, come together and say, we're building a movement, but we understand that we need to start from the beginning, that we understand that we need to start from the local government level. We understand that we need to infiltrate House of Reps, we need to infiltrate state houses of assembly, local government chairman positions, councillors in the wards. That is what our generation needs, as it is a movement of young people who just feel like we can do better for Nigeria. We can do it differently, we can do it better, and at least let us try. If we try and we fail, I told this to somebody the other day, that I can live with trying and failing at something, but I can't live with not trying. And so the decision to try and work with and build the modern Democratic Party is a decision to say also that we want to stand for our own set of ideals. Because every election season, what happens? Politicians come, court young people to use our voices to help them get into office. And then, for the most part, they ignore the issues that greatly concern us for 4 years. And then the next election season, they come again and they hire artists and actors and athletes and people, influencers at different levels in society, and say, oh, come and sing for me or talk for me or whatever. And then some group of people do it for one side or the other side, and that cycle continues. So I don't want to go to a party that will say, oh, fine, come, take the ticket. By the way, a few parties offered me tickets. But if they would have said, oh, take this ticket and pine for this person, campaign for this person on a presidential level. And I'm at the point where it's like, I want to use my voice for the ideas and the vision and the mission that I feel that I have. I don't want to use it. I don't want somebody else to just use it for whatever political purpose. So let me, if I'm going to speak up, if I'm going to stand out, if I'm going to stick my neck out, let me do it for myself, because I know what my own intentions are. So let me campaign for myself and the things that I think that I want to do, and for this new movement that will hopefully create the platform for more credible people to come in at different levels of government and do the same thing. Absolutely not. I think if I was afraid or intimidated, then I wouldn't be going down the road that I'm going on. So I'm definitely not intimidated, I'm definitely not fearful. I think the key for me is saying that this is an opportunity for the community to decide what kinds of people that we want to put in office. So we can either do things the same way that we've always done and give it to the same people that we've always done, or we can take a chance at doing things differently. Nigeria needs new voices. Nigeria needs new ideas. Nigeria needs a new mentality. Nigeria needs credibility in office. Nigeria needs people with the right intentions, with the right intellectual capacity for the job. And part of the reason that I'm doing this is that I want to inspire our generation to take a stand. That's what it's about. It's about young people saying, well, no, maybe we don't want to do it the same old way. We don't want to give it to the same old people. We don't want to just do business as usual, because Nigeria doesn't need business as usual. So at this point, it needs to be about whether a candidate is credible. What are the things that he's been focused on in his personal capacity over the years? What are the things that he's worked on? Do you give it to somebody because they're part of a specific family or because they're part of a specific party? We have 90-something parties in the country. It's a complete mess. So at this point, it needs to be about the candidates. It needs to be about put each person that is running for each position up against each other and say, which of these best represents the kind of person that I want in office? Then if it's them, if it's my opponent or any of the opponents, then give them the job. And if it's not, if you want to try something new, then try us as MDP. Try us, give us a chance, and let's see what we do. As usual, Nigeria needs new voices. Nigeria needs new ideas. Nigeria needs new people. Nigeria needs credible people for what this country can become. Not people who have milked the country, over the years. And so there's no pressure on me, right? Because nobody expects Modern Democratic Party or me in my limited capacity as a first-time rookie politician to pull off this upset. The pressure is on them. People don't go through what we are going through. They don't have to defend their ideas. Sometimes they don't even put legislative agendas. So candidates don't debate anymore, not the major ones, because they know that they don't need to debate because they don't want to expose or have to defend their ideas. And so how do candidates campaign? They just spend a lot of money. They put posters at every street corner. They sometimes pay voters for their votes, and that's where it ends. But maybe we can be the generation that says, no, this time, if these people all say they want this job, then come out on the same platform and argue ideas, and let's debate, because we've never paid attention. So what they've done is they've been putting people in these positions for years without having to defend it, without having to say, is this candidate really good enough? Does he really know enough? Is he going to work enough for this position for him to deserve that seat? And so what we're doing now is we're shining a light on it that was never shown before, and we're saying that even for a House of Rep seat, if you want somebody from compare us. That obviously takes precedence over anything. And in all of that, I have tried and I will continue to try to do my best to make sure that my home front is the most important. So how you take care of your wife and the children God blesses you with, that is also priority over anything else. And so, by the grace of God, He will give me the strength not to let my home front fall apart, but also to serve my community and my country in the best way, and also to continue to maintain, after my public service is done, to continue to,
Olubankole Wellington of the Modern Democracy
on my website. So if people go to bankywellington.com, they can see all of the issues that we want to focus on, if given the opportunity. Now, in that legislative agenda, you'll notice that the things that are there, we just concluded the international 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, where as an influencer and as a media agency owner, my company and myself have been working with the European Union to raise awareness. So we did this thing called Her Story, Our Story. It generated 100 million impressions about raising awareness about gender-based violence and how, as a country, we treat our females, our women, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. That if given an opportunity in the office, that team in the Senate needs to be concerned about gender-based violence, needs to be concerned about gender equality. Females are underrepresented in government and in business. The only way to do that is to champion bills that encourage gender equality, to strengthen laws against gender-based violence. Understand that this is a priority. Put people in the House that will champion these kinds of bills, that will enforce this. We have a senator that married a 13-year-old girl. A senator in Nigeria. We have a senator that married a 13-year-old girl and got away with it more than once. If the people that we are putting in lawmaking capacities are encouraging these kinds of things, the only way to do that is to change the kind of candidates that we put in office that understand what issues are important, that understand where our country needs to go, the direction, the destiny of Nigeria, where are we going, what are the things that we're focusing on in the lawmaking bodies of our society. I know what side of the table I fall, and if given an opportunity to be in office, I know that I can agitate for and champion and encourage bills and the enforcing of laws that protect our children. I have been representing them in their various constituencies or their senators. I'm saying that this is what I would do if given the opportunity, and hopefully they give me that chance. So we, first of all, I should say that since I announced, or a little over a month ago, the support from the entertainment community has been very encouraging. So people have used their Instagrams, their Twitters, their social media in general to repost videos and posters from the campaign and all of that. So I'm grateful, very grateful to all of my colleagues that have extended themselves in that manner. The good news for them is that as a movement, the Modern Democratic Party is not involved in any race. So that you support us in this House of Reps doesn't mean that you cannot go and support whoever you want for president or governor or any level in society. What we are saying is that do what you want there, but at least here, in this constituency, in this community, give a different set of ideas a chance to bring about change. I actually haven't decided. I haven't decided who I'm voting for in the presidential elections. And when I do decide, I'm not even sure whether I will speak up publicly for a candidate or not yet. I think part of the challenge that we have is how many people that are running for president. What I do want to say, though, is that I wish the rest of our alternative candidates would understand that this race is bigger than anybody's particular ambition, right? We have Buhari and Atiku, who everybody knows. Then we have so many other candidates who are essentially going to be taking votes from themselves. So I hope, and there's still time, and I hope that the rest of the alternatives understand that this thing would be a lot more realistic if we had one consensus, all of those alternative votes together to make 1/3 voting block. And then it becomes a realistic race between three people. Right now, aside from the big two, everybody else is taking votes from themselves, and it makes no sense to me. So if they know, and then this is probably an appeal too to them to say, if you guys know that this thing is good for the generation, and if you have the interests of Nigeria at heart, like you claim to, can't we all get you guys in a room and let's, as a generation, back that and see what happens? Then there's a realistic chance. To be president of Nigeria, you need at least 25% of the votes in 2/3 of the states. So you can win every single vote in Lagos and still not win the presidency. So the hope is that they will all get together in a room, decide once and for all who is this consensus third candidate, and let the generation who wants a different option get behind that third person. And then let's look at the 3-horse race and then see. So for me, you know, and when I responded to this person, there were some people who felt like, oh, you shouldn't dignify every insult with a response, and you know that's true. But I also wanted to kind of make it a teachable moment or leave a lesson to learn behind, and that lesson is, number one, what are our priorities as a generation? Is it to stunt and to slay? Is it to look rich, or is it to be wealthy? Is it, if I was the kind of person who was driving, you know, $1 billion car or a luxury car of a certain level, and I didn't have, and I was still paying rent in the compound where I was parking that car, then where are my priorities? And so I wanted to teach that. But then I also had, even before she had brought this issue up, I also had already decided that I was going to make a big deal about the fact that I was auctioning this car because I wanted to raise money for charity. So I had already been having discussions with the charities for a month or two before all of this came out. That we did do the auction the other day, and this same car actually raised 2.3, and then the company Cars 45 that did the auction for me also chipped in an extra 500k on top. So that 2.8 million was split. 1.4 million went to the Society for the School for the Blind. The other 1.4 went to the Pink Oak Cancer Trust Fund, which is a fund that I've been working with to donate money and raise awareness for cancer treatment. What are our priorities? And that was my point of responding, was one, what are our priorities as a generation? What are the things that are important to us? What are the lessons that we are teaching ourselves and leaving behind in terms of what's, you know, is it about materialistic things, or is it about building wealth? Is it about having staying power? Is it about creating companies and businesses that other young people can be a part of? And then there's so many societies, so many charities that are doing great things, and they're in so much need of funds. So now I could have taken that car and given it to one person, or sold it and added the money to what I needed to buy my next car. Or I can create this scenario where a fantastic businessman called Michael Ugu saw what I was doing and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to come and bid on this auction because I love that you came up with this idea. And so he bought the car. And now, from that unfortunate situation, two charities are each 1.4 M richer, and they've gotten God knows how much more in exposure, where other people are now looking them up, seeing the amazing work that the Cancer Trust Fund and the School for the Blind are doing, and they're contributing outside of even this donation. And that's what we're talking about, is using, the community needs to rally around itself to fix itself. The community needs to rally around itself to help itself. My vision as far as movies are concerned, I really like that I was in the set of people that, if you will, kind of help the music business grow and kind of help the music business enter a new dimension, help the music business upgrade, you know. Hats off to the pioneers who started in the music business, but I think, you know, around the time of, you know, EME and Chocolate City and Storm and Maven and, you know, Mohits at the time and all of that, and Square Records, just the companies that kind of came in and started giving an opportunity for young, newer artists to come in and take this music business to another level. And I think that's what opened the door for this generation that is doing incredible things in the music business. So the vision for the movie business is that maybe we can be part of that set of people that starts to show that even in the movie business, there's room to grow, there's room to improve, and that the movie business is a worthwhile business for people to invest in. With the right script, the right cast, the right director, the right crew, the right story, Nigerians will support your product. They will come in and see your movies, so that we can even raise those standards as well. Now you have not just Wedding Party, AY, you know, does what he does with his films. Up North is out now. King of Boys is an amazing production, and it's only opening the door for more movies to be made, for more jobs to be created in the movie business, for more investors to invest, and for more quality products to reach our people. Because people say, oh, you know, look at what King of Boys is doing. It's not top 5 movies in Nollywood because it's a good film. It's a good film, and that's what we're saying is like, let us create the environment and let us show, leading by example, that good films can be made and you can make your money back by investing in them, and it makes good business sense. And that's why we're still in the, I'm a co-executive producer in Up North. I'm the lead actor in Up North. My wife is in the projects that she's in, and we will continue to back these kinds of projects and to create a fertile environment for our movie business. The same way that we played a small role in what the music business has become today, we want to also improve the movie business as well. My favorite thing about Up North is probably the script. So when they were trying to convince me to do the movie, they spent like 3 months trying to sell me on this, oh, come, let's go to Bauchi and shoot this film. But I hadn't seen the script and they didn't send it to me because they were still working. So I kept turning the movie down and I said, I don't have a month out of my year to go and sit down in Bauchi. Like, I'm not interested. But the day that they finally sent me the script, the minute I finished reading it, I knew instantly that, one, it was a movie that had to be made. It was a story that had to be told. And also that I wanted to be involved in as many ways as possible because I thought that it was an important story. And when I talk about the script, it's a heartwarming romantic comedy between a guy from one part of the country and a girl from another part, and how they're able to fight against the odds to stand for their love, you'd be correct. If you described it as a comedy about an NYSC corper's experience in camp, about a spoiled rich kid who's punished by being sent, and the experiences that he goes through that help him grow up and become a man, a coming of age type of story, comedy, you'd be correct. If you called it a drama about the importance of educating and empowering the girl child, especially in a region where girl children especially have suffered. The northern Nigerian girl child has probably been the most disadvantaged person in Nigeria in our history. In terms of, you look at the education numbers, we have 11+ million children out of school. 2/3 of them are girls. This is the scenario that we've created as a country. This film is about that too. So in one fell swoop, and then also it's about the beauty of Nigeria, the beauty of our culture. It shows the most beautiful parts of Nigeria that you didn't know existed. People travel from all over the world to go to Kenya and South Africa and bring tourism dollars there. When you see that those animals are here. I saw giraffes like this, 200 yards away, like they were running away from us. The most majestic animals I've ever seen in my life. I saw them in this same Nigeria. And yet look at our tourism sector. Look at Yankari Game Reserve and Sumu Park. Sumu Park, the toilets looked and smelled like they'd not been flushed in 5 years. So everything that we're in charge of and that our government is in charge of and that we are in charge of as a people, we let rot away. But they're still there. The things that God watches over. The Yankari Game Reserve, the animals are beautiful. The Wiki Warm Spring, my God, you've not seen a more beautiful natural resource body of water. It will blow your mind. I've worked in a personal capacity with the Ministry of Tourism in Dubai. I've worked with the Ministry of Tourism in South Africa. I've worked with other countries' governments to help their tourism industry. Ask me when the Ministry of Tourism in Nigeria has ever once in my career said, hey, let's work with you guys to say, what can we do in this? Never had that opportunity. Yet other countries have seen what we're able to do and have contracted us and given us business to come and help them. So, but why is that the case? Why is it that we can work outside of the country with governments and ministries that see our potential and know that they can work with us and see the strength of our voices, but here at home we don't? Sorry, I've gotten sidetracked. The point being is that Up North is a film about all of these things, and they did a phenomenal job. So I tip my hat to them, and I thank them for being patient enough with me, because I kept saying no, although to be fair, they didn't show me the script on time. But when they finally showed me the script, I knew that this was one of the most beautiful stories that I had ever read, and that this was a story that this was a powerful, amazing, compelling story that had to be told about our young people, about our children, about our girls, about our culture, about our tradition, about love, about sacrifice, about pain, because love sometimes takes sacrifice and pain to stand up for it. So it's about all of these things, and it's funny, and you want to cry, and you want to laugh, and you want to go and hug your family, and you want to love your wife or your husband better than you've ever loved them before, and you maybe will want to give some money to a charity. Maybe you want to play a role in making Nigeria what it can be. That's what Up North is about. You know, living in the North for almost a month opened my eyes to the beauty of the area and the beauty of the people that are resident there. And it's unfortunate that some bad eggs have come and cast a shadow over that entire region. But maybe with Up North, we can start to play a role in showing that, well, it's not all like this. Nigeria is also like this. And that's something to celebrate. So for Wedding Party 1, what memories do I have from Wedding Party 1? I think, actually, honestly, for both movies, I think the thing that stood out most to me was the time that I spent with the cast and crew. I think that just being around people like RMD and Auntie Ireti and Auntie Shola and obviously my wife and Beverly and Zainab and, you know, the comedians, just that camaraderie, Eina, Ikechukwu, like Kemi Adetiba, you know, just being with that cast and crew and kind of having a common goal and learning from each other and helping each other out. And, you know, there are sometimes that somebody has to kind of carry the weight and move everybody along and keep everybody committed. I think just that bonding experience with the cast and crew for me was the most beautiful thing about either scenario. Well, first I should say that my wife is my acting coach. So any movie role that you've seen me do, from anything in movies that you've seen me do from Wedding Party 1 till now, I actually go through my scenes with my wife and say, okay, read my script with me, this is how I'm going to do it. And then she says, oh, this is great, or maybe you can change this. She's literally my acting coach. And so props to her for helping me become a better actor. And then obviously, you know, time spent on set obviously is just a beautiful thing because you get to bond even more and you get to, you know, become closer and things of that nature. So yeah, it's been beautiful. Around the time of my traditional wedding was also One Africa in Dubai. So there were so many people in the entertainment business who had gone to Dubai who were now scrambling to make it back and to get on a flight. In fact, Tiwa had to fly an economy seat, even though she had a business class or a first class seat for a few days later. She literally got the last available seat on the plane to get her back in time for my traditional wedding. So it wasn't just Wiz that missed it. It was a few friends, close friends who had gone to Dubai for One Africa. But I think also hopefully people know that between Wiz and I, our relationship is deeper than any fame or fortune. Wiz at this point is my younger brother. He's been that way for years and that's never going to change. And so we are in touch. You know, we don't see as much as either of us would like. We probably don't speak as much as either of us would like, but we're very much in touch. We very much still communicate. And, you know, that relationship I don't think will ever change, no matter how successful or whatever path that either of us ends up going on. I think that we have a bond, hopefully, that will stand the test of time because we love each other, man, like brothers. That's my little brother and that's never going to change. And the same thing, honestly, for Lucid, the same thing for Shady, for Neola, for Mastercraft, for Anuel, for Suka Sounds, for anybody that we've worked with and built those early EME years, Osage, Uche, the people who were around at that time. There's a bond there, the experiences that we've gone through together. There's a notion of this is my family. This is not about business or money or anything like that. This is a family member to me. And you know, no matter what happens, your family remains your family. Even if sometimes you are upset or disappointed by each other, your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad or whatever remains your family. And that's never going to change. My favorite relaxation activity is being at home in my house with my wife. I think that both of us live very hectic schedules, so whenever you just have those hours where you can just go back home and not have to think about anyone or put your phones on silent and just have some time to decongest your brain, for me that's it. And then obviously we are very fortunate because we both love to travel, we both love to see other places and experience other cultures, and our jobs allow for that. So we rarely take full vacations. What we tend to do is, like, if we have an opportunity to fly somewhere, we'll squeeze in a day or two to kind of see the town or do some tourism or just to experience other cultures and experience other activities while we're out of town. So those travel and then just me time at home, I think.
It's Nigeria, one community at a time. MDB. Strong.
Adeswa's favorite local meal is, it changes. It's kind of like mine. I would say that she likes things like yam porridge. She likes jollof rice. I've gotten her very much into meats. So like me, she has now become a very big lover of protein. So your chickens, your beefs, things of that nature. She really loves amala, but I really don't like it. So somehow, and I do the cooking at home. So she doesn't get to eat it very much because I never cook amala. But when we're out, she loves amala and seafood okra. So when we're out at weddings or events or restaurants, a lot of times she'll order that because that's probably one of the things that I probably will never make because I never liked it, so I never make it. I would say that at the moment it's probably green. She really hates pink, but she likes things that are colors that are related to pink. So she likes blush, she likes peach, she likes probably lavender, things that are off shade, but that deep pink she absolutely cannot stand. But the things in that spectrum she likes a lot as well. Thus far, I think has been really the entire journey and the entire experience. I think that it's very important for people in this generation to understand that it's okay to wait, that you're not on anybody's timetable. Because a few years ago, the number one question I was getting in interviews was like, hey, you have done everything, when will you marry? But I'm so glad that I didn't give in to that kind of pressure or ask anybody to say, let me just find somebody to marry for marrying's sake. I'm so glad that I waited because now I didn't just find a wife, I found somebody that's like my purpose partner. I found somebody that we can build our destinies together. I found, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody needs to become better. There's room for growth. But I think the key with marriage is just finding somebody that you want to try for, somebody that you want to work for and work with, somebody that you want to help develop, and somebody that you want to develop yourself for. And just that entire experience of finding her and trying to do it with her has been one of the most amazing journeys, if not, in fact, the most amazing journey of my life. My guilty pleasure now is, well, it's always been food. I'm very much a foodie. I love eating good food wherever I can get it, whether it's the one that I made myself or eating out. I also love, nowadays, I've started playing a video game. It's FIFA 2019. Because when I actually didn't play games for almost 20 years. That whole phase of video games I stayed away from because I just wasn't that interested in it. But when I was getting married, another married friend of mine said, listen, oh boy, you didn't marry. You need things that will keep you in your house. So that when you have free time, you are not out paroling the streets and doing all this. So if I would advise you, go and buy yourself a computer game so that when you have time and you are alone and you have some free time, sit down in your house and play your game. And I thought that was funny, but then I went out and bought a game and I started enjoying it. So now I play FIFA 19 when I have some moments. My favorite actor is my wife, but internationally, I like people like Will Smith, I like Denzel, I like Mos Def. On the female side, I love Julia Roberts, I love Halle Berry. At home, my favorite male actor is RMD, obviously. He's somebody that I love dearly, not just for his career, but for who he is as a person. I call him Pops, like he's like a surrogate, a second father to me and a lot of people in our business. I love Auntie Reti, I love Auntie Shola. And I would say home and abroad, people like that. And that's not a conclusive list, obviously, but yes, people like that. First of all, I want to thank Mediaroomhub for engaging me and asking me questions and allowing me to share some ideas and answer questions. I also want to thank everybody that's out there that has been encouraging. So my volunteer base is amazing. Right now we have almost 2,000 volunteers of young people in and around this community that are coming out every week, going door to door with us and carrying the message. And I want to encourage the country and the community to say, this has to be the generation that makes the decision to stand up. This has to be the generation that says, we're going to try things differently, we're going to do things differently. This has to be the generation that sticks its neck out and goes down this road. And that's what this is all about. That's why we call it hope. We're trying to prove to our generation and to ourselves that we can still believe, we can still hope for something, we can still deliver, we can still change Nigeria, we can still improve Nigeria. And the way that we at Modern Democratic Party envision this happening is that you fix Nigeria by fixing one community at a time. And so that's what this is all about. Hopefully we're given the chance to do that with this job. But regardless, this is something that we are trying to inspire the entire generation of young Nigerians to get involved with and to get behind and to all play our parts into making Nigeria the kind of country that we dream for it to be.
That the money gives them the power.